you've given a fantastic case for why the Bill of Rights really support our constitutional right to bear crypto, to have crypto, to hold crypto, and all the freedoms that implies. Let's talk about kind of the last piece of this as we wrap up this episode, which is it's not enough for you to believe this and for you to make the case and for me to believe this and for me to respond to the case and say, yep, that makes complete sense, or for Bankless listeners or for the wider crypto audience. We have to somehow bake this into this social consensus mechanism that we call government and realize that's composed of multiple parts. I can think of at least a few. One is the courts and the law and the interpretation of that law. It's basically everything we've been talking about. So it basically requires you or someone like you, some lawyer, some legal mind, to take cases through case precedent to the various court systems, all the way to the Supreme Court as necessary, and get this enshrined as, yep, this is the correct interpretation of how the Constitution applies to crypto. So we got the courts, then there's also legislators. Mm-hmm. So there might be some gaps. There might be some like courts who say, I don't know, we don't have a law about this, right? And so what's a security? What's a commodity? Congress, go figure that out. So we got legislators to kind of convince about some of these things, those in government, and then the executive branch as well. And so that's all of our regulators. That's the administrative state. That's kind of the president. And they factor into this as well as we've seen recently. There's one other, kind of a fourth that I wanted to mention. That is individual citizens, hearts and minds. Right now, there's this take, I think, about crypto. If you talk about crypto to the American, to the person on the street, let's say, they are not going to immediately recall property rights and like freedom of speech and code is law. They're not going to think about that. They're going to think about NFTs and SBF and scams and frauds and isn't that a big casino and doesn't North Korea do things with crypto assets? A lot of the bad things, right? Like not bad. Well, some of those are clearly bad, but some of them are just like orthogonal to the digital property rights that we've been talking about today. And so we have to somehow convince the person on the street, the average citizen, like win over the hearts and minds to this cause too. Why? Because hearts and minds are voters. They elect legislators in the executive branch. They also become the court system, don't they? They become the jurors. They become like Supreme Court justices as well. And so there's a whole societal consensus hearts and minds machine. Anyway, that just sounds like a lot of work to do. And I guess my question to you, Richard, is like we're starting in a small way with this podcast and talking about this and that kind of thing. But how do we actually win to embed these freedoms into the operating system of the United States of America? Because we're not there yet. We haven't done it. I don't feel safe and secure with like my crypto rights right now. I feel like we have a claim on those rights and a constitutional claim, but I don't know that everyone else, all of the other validators in the network, have not necessarily legitimized that and verified those blocks and those claims.
Yeah, and so I'm glad you brought up both of the three branches of the government and then also the people itself. And so, what can we do? What can we enshrine it? Well, it begins with exercising the rights that we've described, right? You talk about legislatures communicating, make it easy for them. So talk with your legislators, talk with your representatives about the things that are important to you, why they're important, how they translate into these fundamental rights. It's about expressing your political view as it relates to crypto, saying, the Stand With Crypto group, right? Putting your name down as saying, I am a person who aligns with these beliefs, right? That is a political act communicating to the government that this is important to me. And so whether that's legislators, whether that's the executive branch, right, that's communicating. So it's in one part, it's a communication. When you talk about the judicial branch, right, court cases are expensive. There's a risk of loss of freedom and liberty and things like that. And so, but you have to be willing to fight that. So when companies like Coinbase say, you know what, we're not going to just pay the fine. We're going to go to court on this when Kraken gets sued. And they say, you know what, we're going to go to court on this. That's again, right, the donation of money to a legal fund. That's a political act. You're saying like, I'm supporting this discussion in the judicial realm. So participating where you can appropriately in the judicial process by either defending your right, by helping someone else defend their right, or even contributing. Like this is where more lawyers and maybe people who are more familiar with the process can say, you know what, I'm going to write a brief on behalf of this, articulating why I think that we have a right to crypto or why the government's behaving inappropriately. And then to the fourth group, the people on the street, it's kind of again, it's just a reflection on all the others. It's, can you meet people where they are and talk to them about the problems that they are having in a way that translates? And so here in the United States, we are very fortunate that the rule of law, it's hard to describe, right? It's the cleanest shirt in the dirty laundry. It's terrible except for all the others. Well, it's very easy for someone who's just come from a country where the political freedoms or the individual freedoms are not respected. And so you can say, and just in the same way, right, cross-border payments. Well, should I be able to send money to my family in another country? Well, someone who does that would be very, could very, very easily understand like what happens when the government says no. Or let's go to historical examples, right? So what happened in Cyprus? You wake up one day and your pension is gone or your bank accounts are gone. Like those people very, very acutely understand what the right to be secure in your a person's places and effects would mean because they've had it taken away. So it's having the continued conversation. It's about articulating reasoning by analogy. It's about engaging in the discussion. It's about continuing to the builders out there, keep making it easier. The UI UX experience. Let's everyone has a role to play if they want to promote this. But it is, again, the cost of freedom, or it's a heavy freedom to carry, and so we got to carry it. You just got to put it. It's the proof of work. You got to put it in, but it's, I think, important to continue to have those conversations, and we have them every day. And this, whether it's a podcast or a conversation, or asking the coffee shop that you like to go to, do you guys take crypto? It's theirs. And when they say no, what is that? Helping them walk through, set up a wallet. And so it's again, meeting people where they are, helping them into it. And then eventually we're all, no one has to explain the internet to you or me or to my mom, but we all use it and we all understand it. Eventually we'll get there if we continue to have the conversations.
If you enjoyed all of that, then you'll absolutely love the Bankless newsletter. Join over 300,000 fellow readers, all for free. Click below to sign up.